Welcome to Inspirational Talks with LaDonna Marie, a Planting Positive Seeds podcast. Hey everybody, it's LaDonna Marie, internationally multi-award-winning author, speaker, and personal development life coach of LaDonna Marie Books, where my mission is to discover the champion in you through healing and changing the narrative in your life, one book at a time. You can shop and find out more information at www.ladonnamarie.org and check out the shop page. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Inspirational Talks with LaDonna Marie. And I'm so excited about our guest on tonight. I have been following her for a while. She's amazing. She's a mother. She's a certified public speaker. She's a certified life coach. She just published an amazing book. We'll talk about that. She's a counselor and she's a health and wellness coach. And so I want to introduce you all to Dr. Suur. How are you doing on tonight?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much, Pastor LaDonna Marie. I just love you so much. Yeah, I'm excellent.
Well, that's good. I'm so glad that you are joining us on Inspirational Talks with LaDonna Marie. It's actually a Planting Positive Seeds podcast because with my nonprofit, we plant positive seeds in the lives of others daily. And so by the podcast, God had me to start this a while back so that I can encourage others. We could talk about triumphant moments in your life. We can share with the listeners how we've overcame some things so that they can understand that they can do it too. Because we want to just plant a seed of hope in everyone's lives. But tonight, I want to let the listeners learn more about you. So could you share a little bit about yourself and your career with the listeners?
Absolutely. Thank you so much again for having me. So like you all heard, my name is Dr. Suur, and I'm a health and wellness expert. And I believe that my mandate in life is wholeness, to help to restore people to a place of wholeness. And that to me is a state of complete well-being. And that is in your mind, in your soul, and in your body. And you know that your soul actually incorporates your will, your emotions, your intellect. And so I believe that is really my calling and my mandate in the earth. And that's what I do. In the natural, I'm like I said, health and wellness expert because I have over a decade of experience in public health. I'm PhD trained, public health expert. But I have many backgrounds. I'm also a chemist, I started really in medicine, switched to public health, and I love all things health. But more importantly, I consider myself, a kingdom health ambassador. So I'm a believer in Jesus Christ, and I consider myself a royal daughter of the Most High, and so a kingdom ambassador, a kingdom health ambassador. I'm also an intercessor. I love to pray, and so with that, I'm a global prayer strategist, and that to me is really more important because wholeness, like I said, encompasses your spirit, your body, and your soul. But our spirit is really the essence of who we are because that was, God is spirit and he breathed into man when he created man. So we're spirit beings. And I heard somebody say, and I love the way they put it, you are spirit and you exist in a body. And so that's just a little bit about me and what I do.
Well, I thank you for sharing that with us. Health and wellness coach, ambassador, health wellness ambassador, and thank you for explaining it to each and one of the listeners, because even as we go throughout our days, our minds have to be healed, healthy, and also with our bodies. I used to just think I didn't really need to, do certain things because I was smaller, but I always like to work on my cardio. I like to work on, my insides and also my mind. I have to take self-care time to make sure that I have my mental health is taken care of, as well as, my physical health. And we have to, take time and care about ourselves. And I love the fact that you represent, God in the kingdom, because, I love God over here. He lets me know everything that I'm supposed to do. I mean, as far as I can know, the reason why I started this is because I think like at the age of 14, I had like a healing ministry. And so it started throughout my poems, and it started throughout just, having the compassion to help people to heal. And, Luke 4:18 is what he told me a long time ago. And I've been doing that, helping to heal the brokenhearted when the Spirit of the Lord is upon me. And so that's something that I love to do, to encourage others. So I'm so happy that, as well as in your profession, in ministry, being an intercessor. I was on one of your broadcasts and I heard you pray and intercede, for others on Clubhouse. I listen to you when you have your intercessor and your prayer. And so I'm uplifted, and I know everyone who's in the room with you all as well, because God called us to pray and intercede for those, who cannot. And so we have to do that. So thank you so much for what you do and just who you are.
Thank you so much. That's truly a blessing. It's funny you said healing, because that's my ministry. And even on Clubhouse, that's one of the main things that we do every Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern time. We have a pop-up hour of prayer for healing. And that is, my calling, really, to help to heal the brokenhearted, like you said. And it's funny because at the age of 14 too, my first revival broke out when I was 14 years old.
Wow.
In boarding school. And for days, God just really swept through the place and touched many lives. And even yet today, God is doing it. And in our rooms on Clubhouse, when we have the prayer, I call it really prayer revival times. God is dealing with the mindset and the brokenhearted and soul wounds, and kinds of healings happen while we pray. So I'm just honored to have been connected with you like that.
I know, and look, I'm so thankful, because you know what, it's so needed. It's like it's needed for people to, even though I think this the pandemic that we've been in, for last year and a little bit of this year, I think that it was more of a help to us, because now we understand that we are the church. We are the ecclesia, the called out ones. And so wherever we are, God can be, He is, and therefore His, His will goes forth. And so on Clubhouse, on social media, just making sure that we're doing it out in the byways and highways. So we're actually going out into Judea, Samaria, and the outermost place of the earth. So, I love the fact that we can do this, and listen, we have a whole prayer session just right here. But that's awesome that, like you said, at the age of 14, that the prayer broke through, because I knew in my heart, I just followed the leading of God. I think back then, the Holy Spirit would just tell me, even with my poems, to just share it with somebody, to share it. So when He would give it to me, I would share it, and they would say, this sounds like something I needed, or this sounds exactly like my life. And so half of the time it was Him just downloading to me what someone else needed. And like I always tell people, I was the vessel. And so I'm really still humbled that the Lord could use me in times, because I just stayed, seeking Him and humble. And I know that you do as well.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to ask you, what inspires you to do what you do?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
I was saying, what inspires you to do what you do?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. Every time I'm asked about that, I always tell people my faith. Everything I do is wrapped up all inside of my faith.
Yes.
Take my faith in Jesus Christ outside of my life, and my life falls apart, because He's the cornerstone. I was actually born in a Christian family, but I did not consider myself, well, let me just say this. The fact that I was born in a Christian home did not necessarily make me a Christian or a Christ follower. Okay. But I gave my life to Christ. I surrendered my life to Christ at the age of 11. I mean, I was raised in a place where I could actually, I knew a lot about the Word of God. I knew about prayer. Like, I had that foundation. However, it wasn't until 11 that I gave my life to Christ. And then I was spirit-filled at the age of, with the evidence of speaking in tongues, obviously, by the age of 12. Okay. And so at that time, my love and my heart for God was really what drove me into everything that I was doing. And so when you ask me what inspires me, is that longing for God, to please God. That is my inspiration, because I had always prayed that God would give me his heart for the nations. And so having the heart of God inspires me, even when I'm tired, even when I don't feel like it. I know that there are people out there that are hurting. There are people out there that need direction. There are people out there that are discouraged, because we actually live in a very mean world. There's so many wicked people out there, and terrible things happening to people. But because God put his heart inside of me, I'm able to, I want to keep going, to keep encouraging people, praying for people, and pouring into people. I love people. I genuinely love people. I often tell people that I always take the side of the underdog. It is this way with me. Like, I often tell people, I say, you know, people will say, oh, such and such is like a serial killer or a murderer or something. Like, my heart goes out even to people like that, because I keep wondering what happened in their lives to make them become this person. They were not born this way. So something must have happened. I wonder who dropped the ball. I wonder what happened in their grassroots. Like, I'm always wanting in their roots. I'm always wanting to get to the bottom of things, to see the why. So I love to give people the benefit of the doubt. I'm not saying I'm condoning what people do. As a behavioral scientist, I understand human behavior is complicated. However, because I have the heart of God, I'm just always inspired, you know, to take the side of others, to listen, to see, to hear the other person's side, to understand the why behind what they do. So in a nutshell, I know that was a long, response.
Good. That was so good, because I feel you, you know, and I'm like that too, because as I was younger, I did too. I took the side of the underdog. I took the side of the person least likely for people to understand. I was always that person, but it was because I had the compassion that God had. A lot of people used to say I wore my heart on my sleeve, but I could feel like they felt. Like, at the age of 14, I attempted to commit suicide. And so because I felt like, you know, I didn't want to be on this world, and I felt very misunderstood, and I had heard once or twice that I wasn't going to be enough, and that was probably out of anger. And I know that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, and so I know that there was, you know, some serious spiritual things going on. But I was still a 14-year-old, and it still hurt me. And so, but when the Lord saved my life, and when He told me that there was yet more in my life, He gave me, He wanted, you know, he was like, you're going to help me to help others. And so, like, what I wrote, He said, what you write in these books and what I'm going to give you to write, you're going to help me to heal. I'm going to heal you, but you're going to help me to heal others. And so I understand what you mean when you say, even though you're tired, even though you may not know, you want to still help. You want to still see. That was one of the things, even for me too, like with bullies, I would always think in my mind, what is going wrong in their life that they are so upset and angry that they want to bully other people? I think like that. I even did like a bullying seminar at the church one time, but that was my mindset, because I feel the same exact way. Like, something had to happen for you to be so angry, or there's something that you're doing without, that you don't have, that you want, so that other people can you can take away from other people. And so I understand what you mean by that. And I'm just inspired because I know that God keeps giving us grace and mercy each and every day to wake up to do what we've been called to do. And so I'm thankful that, you know, your faith and your love for God continues to inspire you so that you can help, you know, people with the things that they go on in life.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to ask you, tell me about some of your highlights and your achievements. And, you know, share with me, it could be recent, it could be something in the past. So share with us, the listeners, because here on Planting Positive Seeds, we like to celebrate, you know what I'm saying, the things. I celebrate the small wins, the big wins, you know what I'm saying, anything that, you know what I'm saying, that God has done and helped us to understand, you know, who we are and who we've been called to be. And so I want you to share with the listeners some of your highlights and your achievements.
Wow. Thank you for that. Yeah, so God has been really good to me. Just so much has happened just over my career. God has been truly faithful. In 2020, I bagged my PhD in public health, and it was, thank you, it was the highlight of my career, because right from when I was little, I always knew that I was going to be a doctor.
Okay.
And I was going to preach the gospel. And so, but at the time I set out to be a medical doctor, and so much happened in my life. There was just so much warfare and turbulence that, I mean, it's a story for another day, but it became apparent at the time that I needed to switch to a PhD program because it was a little bit more flexible on my family. So that's what we did. As a family, we agreed, and I did that. And so when I graduated, I mean, it was a long, windy road. It's a whole book in and of itself, my PhD career, or journey rather. But so when that happened in the pandemic, my God, I was just blown away by what God did, because here we were in the middle of the pandemic. I wasn't even sure if I was going to graduate or what was going to happen. But the Lord was faithful, and I was able to defend my dissertation successfully and receive a PhD. So that was definitely a big deal for me. And thank you. Another thing that happened along that, I did a 3-manuscript dissertation, and one of my papers actually got accepted. Well, I had 2 abstracts that were accepted in a national conference, the American Public Health Conference called APHA, American Public Health Association. And one of my abstracts actually won an award for, research excellence. And I was just so elated. And then another thing was that I got inducted into the Public Health Honorary Society. So I was like, oh my God, because it's a highly sought after, the highest honor, really, if I'm correct, in public health. So that was, it was something. It really was. And then this year I published my first book called The Power of the Secret Place, exactly 1 year from the day that I defended my dissertation. So April 30th, 2020, I defended my dissertation, and April 30th, 2021, I launched my first book.
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you. I know so much more has happened, but those are some of the big ones that I wanted to highlight. But God has been so faithful.
Amen. And now that's congratulations on all of those honors. You truly deserve it. I understand, like you said, the warfare, and sometimes the warfare is just terrible. Oh my goodness, I understand, but I'm so glad that you came out victorious. I'm so glad that you were able to defend, and you are, doctor, and you know what I'm saying, your book that just recently came out. I was so excited. I purchased me a copy of it, and I'm so thankful that welcome to author life.
Yeah, thank you.
So it's really, really great. And if you would like to talk more about the book, you can. If you would like to just tell a little bit about it, and even at the end, you can let people know where they can go in and purchase that book. And so I know I also wanted to ask you to share a time. We just talked about these amazing times in your life, these achievements, and how God has walked us through. But we also want to share with the listeners a time when you had to overcome some obstacles and God really showed himself strong in your life. So share with some of the listeners here on Inspirational Talks a time when you had to overcome an obstacle.
Yes, absolutely, I will. And thank you also for the opportunity to share with them about the book. And I'll touch on that a little bit, and then I'll talk about the obstacles, because I believe that the book in and of itself happening is part of that story. But the power of the secret place, which is the name of the book, God really, because of so much that I've been through, that drove me into the secret place. The secret place is really a metaphorical place, but it's just a place where you get away with God, to be alone with God, just by yourself, away from distractions. And in that place, you can come completely undone. You can be transparent with God in this place. And when you meet God, sometimes you can speak, other times you don't, because prayer is a two-way communication. You're talking to God, but you're also listening for God to speak to you. And when he's speaking, you don't talk, you just sit still and you listen. And so that book came about. The Lord had wanted me to write the book so that I could teach others, show others how to draw close to him in the secret place. Because he's calling really the whole world to get back into that place of intimacy with him, because we had strayed away so far away, and people were doing church and doing all the facade, all the external hype, but not a whole lot of people were not really close to him. He said, these people draw near to me with their words, but their hearts are far away from me. And so the secret place was really a way for me to be able to show people how to get back into that place of secrecy with God, where there's nobody watching you. It's just between you and God, and you're still able to give God your whole heart and your worship and your adoration, and then hear him for yourself. And so that was how the book came about. And the book is really just that, to help you understand what is the secret place, why is it important, what is in it for you, what are the benefits of dwelling in the secret place. So like I said, it was published on April 30th, and it's an inspirational devotional and journal. And I stress the journaling part, because that was actually something that helped me when I was going through just being able to scribe, to journal. Is very therapeutic, and it's also is a technique that I emphasize when I coach people. When I'm coaching and I'm counseling, I let people know, this is something you can do even when you cannot talk. You can actually journal. There were many times in my life, and even now, even just this week, even a few days ago, just sitting there, and I couldn't figure out the words, like the words couldn't come, and all I could do was just put pen to paper, and I write God a love letter. I pour out my heart to God on paper, and as I'm writing, the tears are falling and the deliverance is happening, and the weight is just falling off. And so that's what the book does. It's like a double, like a 2-in-1. So you're learning, you're getting the inspiration, the scriptures are in there, and I share some of my stories in there as well, like, to inspire you, as the Lord gives it to me. The Lord gave it to me. This is a book that was inspired by the Holy Spirit. And then there are prompts in there for you to practice how to write or to hear God through those prompts. And so that's a little bit about the book. You can find it on my website, www.drs, as in Susan, uur.org. So drsuur.org or .org. And it's also on iBooks and on Amazon Kindle. The e-version is on Amazon Kindle and iBooks. And so going back to a time when I overcame, man, my life has been full of lots and lots of valleys, some hills too, but lots of valleys. I've had to overcome so much adversity in life. But one thing I want to share, I want to go back to during the PhD program. Something had happened to me that was not very good. When I was trying to get into medical school, and I did like the one semester through a program that was going to help me to get through medical school. But something happened. I had something really tragic happen to me, and I pulled out. And my husband at the time encouraged me to try for the PhD program. I actually went into depression for like 3 months, but the Lord helped me and delivered me, and then I got accepted into a highly reputable university, top research institution, at least one of the top 100 for sure in the country. And so I ended up going there, and it was a very trying time of my life. And shortly, I think 2.5 years into the program, actually after 2 years, we had to move. And I actually got pregnant with my second son. My husband had gotten a job in another state, and then we had to move. So because I'm very supportive of my husband, we all moved. He also was very supportive of me, and he thought maybe I should just stay and finish. But I didn't want to be apart from him because we had been commuting in the earlier days of my doctoral program. So and then when he finally moved together with us, with me and my daughter, our daughter, I didn't want to be apart from him anymore. So we moved together. Needless to say, my son, the pregnancy was very difficult. I had lots of health issues, and when he was born, I practically died. Let me just say, I lost so much blood. I was in surgical for like 5 days. I never went to mother baby because I had lost so much blood in surgery. And so I went to post-surgical, and for the first day that I came out of surgery, like I couldn't feel my lower half for hours. I couldn't feel anything down below. I had never been in that much pain in my life. But it was just the mercy of God that I came back, because I had a near-death experience. I had left, my body left. I thought that was the end. I was gone, but then the Lord let me come back. And so during that time, I lost a whole year of school, just from recovering. I was poised to graduate with my PhD within 3.5 years. But because of that, I lost a whole year. And then, of course, another wave of depression and anxiety, and just beating up on myself because I'm a super overachiever, and
right here,
I'm telling you. So God had to deliver me from that spirit of perfectionism and rewire my brain and help me to reset my mindset. And so that was a very trying time of my life, because here I was trying to set a record for myself. Yeah, this is a 4 to 8 year program, but I'm going to be done in 3.5 years. Sometimes we try to do things in our strength or in our power, and we make it seem like we're the ones in charge, but we're not.
Right.
And so when life throws us some of these curveballs, that is just a reminder that it's not by power, nor is it by might, according to the word of God. But it's only by the Spirit of God, and it's only by God's mercy that we're alive. So that's why we have to be very careful when we do certain things or say certain things, because we can get all puffed up and think that our lives are ours, and we can do with them whatever we want. But really, that's not how it is. It's only by His mercy. So during that time, I had to recourse to prayer and journaling and just intercession and fasting, because I wasn't understanding what was happening to me. And the Lord began to heal my mind, and the Lord began to heal my heart, because if it wasn't for the mercy of God, I would have been committed, honestly. I would have lost my mind completely. It was a real mental war for me at that time. But God delivered me, and I recovered, and I was able to go back
and graduate. I ended up graduating in 4 years and 7 months, which is still great, because again, like I said, it's the PhD program is anywhere from 4 to 8 years, at least for my program. But the Lord helped me. So that was a time when I endured difficulty, and that's how I was able to get out. And the book was birthed out of that experience, and many more before that. So
yes, well, thank you so much for sharing that. Listeners, I pray that you all are listening to her story, but also seeing how she's an overcomer and how the Lord, walked her through, grace and mercy, and by the Spirit of the Lord helping us, to lead us and to help us. And I understand exactly what you're saying, especially like with the perfectionism, because for me, I think I was like that all of my life. When I was younger, I said, but then I would also look at it and said, I had that spirit about doing it unto God. And so I wanted to make sure that I was doing it unto God and doing it in excellence. But then as I got older, I would put too much on my plate, and it wouldn't be what he asked me to do or what he would ask me. And most of the time, that's when he would ask me to like step away, or, I'm saying, I'll hear that still small voice, just like, just rest. I know just probably like last month, in the month of March, in the month of March, there were a lot of things that were going on, and I was just moving. I was supposed to be finishing my upcoming book, but I was doing so much, and I heard the Lord just kept saying rest. It's like I heard rest every other sentence, and I heard it, and then people, it confirmed by 2 or 3 people, and I was like, okay, God, so I'm going to rest, and I'm going to not tax myself. And so I thank you for sharing the story, because I was just telling some people that in the new book, in the upcoming book, the Lord wanted me to share some of my testimonies, and we have to share them with people so that they can know that we're authentic leaders. Because what people don't understand is they think that sometimes people don't share some of the things that they go through, and so sometimes people think that other people are not going through things. And that was one of the things that God had told me a long time ago, when I wrote one of the other books, that Less Than Shatterpieces Being Restored. That's when a part of my suicide story first came out. He asked me to share it with others, so that I could, start letting them know why I smile, and why I'm, so faithful to the Lord, and why, I'm always champion for him, because he could have let me die. I could have been a statistic, but he woke me up, and he let me, see another day. And so I'm so thankful, Dr. Sue, that you are here and able to share your story. And I know that so many listeners are gaining from your strength, but trusting in the Lord for their lives. If they're encountering anything at this moment, they're going to trust in the Lord to help them to overcome. So thank you for sharing your story. And I can't wait to dig into your book, because I feel sometimes, like even in March, I felt like I was doing too much, and I was moving away from that secret place, and moving away from having that time. And so I know that as I began to read it and journal, because I'm a journal person, I have probably every journal that I've ever written in. I have a whole container full of them. I probably carry like 2 and 3 all the time, because I've been a writer, since the age of 14. There's nothing that I don't think that I write it down. And even like you said, as intimate as the letters that you wrote, because I shared one of the letters that I wrote to God when I was just, praying and asking, for clarity on different things. And I added that to my new book, because I was like, I wanted people to see that this is the behind the scenes conversation. Even though I wrote it down years ago, but this is my heart when I talk to him. Most of the time I am talking to him, in the place, but I wrote down a lot of notes to God and love letters, and just was, you letting him know my heart. And so I know that the readers of your book will be able to read those, pray the prayers, read the scriptures, and then write from their heart on what they feel, and be able to feel that moment. So thank you for sharing that with us. I also wanted to ask you, what
My pleasure.
You're so welcome. What are some of the fun things that you do outside of business? Because I know we have a lot. We have kids, we have work, we have school, we have we're authors. So what are some of the fun things that you do for yourself outside of business?
So I love to cook. So cooking for me is therapeutic. It's exciting. I'm always like trying to write a new recipe or try something, experiment with some seasoning here, mix things up. I'm constantly making up things and hacking, hacking my kids' meals. My daughter is always suspicious. She's like, mama, so what's your secret ingredient? And I'm like, you sure you want to know what I added to that to that spaghetti sauce?
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
It's great. Well, yeah, finding something to do, saying to take your mind off of, saying like some of the things that you're going, you need a little bit of time. I want to say for me, I just bought me some skates. I used to skate a long time ago, back in the day. And so my son, I bought him some as well because he took mine for the longest and I just had to buy him his own skates so he can give me mine back. But I like being outside like they were because, when, before 16, I was probably a tomboy and I was outside in every tree or running around and doing things. And so I know where my children get their energy from, but it's always good to have something that we do outside of our business lives and like that self-care that we want to take care of ourselves and our minds.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, I also love to do the nature walks, and these are things that when I coach people, I tell them cooking is therapeutic because it helps you it puts you in charge. You're in control of what's going in your food, right? And being able to pick out those ingredients. So for me, it's not just standing there and cooking. It's more about sitting there and planning what it is that I'm going to cook, and maybe getting my kids involved, and then doing that shopping where you're actually picking out the fresh vegetables, or maybe even going to a farm or a farmstead, like a farmer's market, and then picking those things out and bringing them home and cooking those things from scratch, like having my daughter spiralize the zucchinis and make up names for the different dishes and things like that. And then also taking those nature walks, is very fun. And all of these things are great for self-care. Again, I consider myself, the self-care coach, the self-care queen. Sharing with people how you can take good care of yourself, because it's very important. Mental exhaustion and emotional exhaustion, physical exhaustion, these things are real things, and they can truly damage your health. And so being able to do that for me helps, because I'm able to take my mind off of my business, my work, and my busy life, the many hats that I wear, just be normal. So yeah, thank you.
You're so welcome, because it's so needed. And I always like to share with the listeners like what my guests, special guests do, because that's something that they can do, So any of you out there that you want to cook, get you some recipes. I know I usually go on Pinterest and I just find different things, and I try to cook it, because back in the day I probably was doing Parmesan, chicken and asparagus and different things like that. I would always go in there and try different things that I would normally, cook, and so it would come out right. So I liked to dabble in some, experimenting at time to time.
That's good. You have to get my new books when they come out. I have a series of recipe books that I'm working on, health recipe books. Because when, it started like a hobby, but because I also do health coaching, it became apparent, because people will ask me all the time, I don't know how to shop, I don't know what to cook. So the Lord had placed it on my heart to write these health recipe books. They should have been released by now, but like you were saying, sometimes we get really busy and we fill our plates up with things that are not God things. They're good things, but they're not God things. That then makes our assignment, puts our assignments on the back burner. But I'm starting to pick those things back up, because these books were supposed to have been published a long time ago by now, because they're so needed for people really around the world to know how to fix simple health fresh meals.
Exactly.
on a daily basis.
Oh, that's going to be good. And so thank you for everything that you are giving to society, because trust me, we need it. We need, I know I do, to do healthy meals and try to make sure that my boys eat good and eat healthy. And so I'll be looking forward to those.
Absolutely.
I have enjoyed our conversation. I've enjoyed, you helping us, the listeners of Planting Positive Seeds, with some health and some wellness and self-care, sharing your story of triumph and overcoming how you overcame your obstacles, sharing with us about your family and, just your journey. And so I thank you again for coming on the podcast and sharing with them. So at this time, if you have any final thoughts, you want to let them know how they can stay in touch with you, what do you have coming up, feel free to share, everything that you have going on.
Absolutely. Thank you again for the opportunity to be here. I have thoroughly enjoyed myself. I see that we have so much alike. Oh, wow. So I'm just really excited. But yes, my passion, again, just to circle back, is that wholeness. My joy gives me so much joy when I'm helping people spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, and otherwise, because really my assignment is, and what I do, is to take a very integrative approach to wholeness, where I'm combining spiritual, cognitive, and that's the mindset, and behavioral approaches to helping people create those lifestyles that lead to well-being. And I'm, helping you, teaching you great cooking techniques, but also clean eating habits, and then getting your spiritual life intact. And so with that, I have a few things that are in the pipeline. People can reach out to me. You can connect with me on my website to book me that way, www.drsuur.org. Again, www.s as in Susan, SUUR.org. So drsue.org. And so you can connect with me that way. You can book me to speak at your next event, because I love to speak. I love to pray. I'm a certified public speaker, global prayer strategist. So I love to do those types of things, and I can speak at your community event, or I can even speak, just to any nation really. Today we're we're virtual too, so we can go global. Wherever you want us to come speak, and I'd be happy to do that. But I also, have my life coaching certification, so I'd love to do that. If there's any way that I could be of service to you, to help you, to help you through life, because life is full of ups and downs and difficulties, I'd love to coach you, and then also do health coaching, consulting, all of that. You can contact me through my website, and I'll be happy to get with you. And my book is also available on the website as well. And then, be on the lookout for many more books that I have coming up in the pipeline. The wellness books are in the pipeline. And I have other wellness programs as well that you're aware of. That they could contact me for plant-based alternatives for health and skincare, cosmetics, personal care, as well as nutrition. So you reach out to me. I have another website that you can also reach out to me, and I'll let you know what that is, so you can get your those needs, those plant-based needs. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Listeners, make sure that you reach out to Dr. Suur. She gave her information, and so anything that you need, health and wellness wise, wholeness wise, that she can help you to get to your next space in life. And so once again, I want to thank you for coming on Inspirational Talks with LaDonna Marie, Planting Positive Seeds podcast. You're welcome to come back again.
Thank you so much. It's nice having you. They could also reach me on my social media platforms. I forgot to mention that. I'm Dr. Suur on Instagram. Okay. I'm on Instagram as well. So dr.suur on Instagram. and they can reach me on Facebook as well as Twitter. So thank you.
All right. Well, make sure that you get connected, everyone. Have a great and a blessed night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
I have gained so many valuable lessons from my experiences. In writing Things I Wish I Knew, Letters to My Little Sisters is a collection of heartfelt conversations with young girls and young adults all over the world, helping them to be prepared for things ahead.
This has been another purpose-packed episode of Inspirational Talks with LaDonna Marie, a Planting Positive Seeds podcast. Please remember to like, share, and tell your friends about the podcast. Stay tuned for many more Inspirational Talks with LaDonna Marie.